Hello and welcome to This Is Microsoft Surface. Yeah!
That's
my
so
overall.
said.
That is my overall thoughts on Microsoft and the Surface lineup in the year of our Lord 2029.
So here's the thing. The brand new Surface Laptop 13, as well as the Surface Pro 12-inch are here. Microsoft is very gracious in giving us some review units. So I've been spending a lot of time with the Surface Pro 12-inch, and you've got the Surface Laptop 13. It's been a little bit since we've talked about Windows 11 and all the Copilot stuff. Which one do you want to talk about first? Because I feel like there's a lot of surfacing that we need to surface.
Let's talk about the tablet because that's what I'm most familiar with.
So for context, you very famously on a This Is episode last year proclaimed that you were switching to the Surface Pro 13-inch.
Yeah.
And that lasted for 17 minutes before you gave up
that
and went to a
lasted,
MacBook.
what, like 6 months?
A few months before you pulled out an old MacBook, like, Mac OS, sweet
I
baby.
do. I love Mac OS. But here's the thing. I loved the tablet. Probably my favorite hardware I've ever used.
Especially because you can get the Surface Pro with like an OLED. You can actually get it with 5G now, which I know is what you wanted initially.
I mean, the hardware is just top notch. The floppy keyboard is kind of
laptop.
It needs getting used to.
But that's the existing Surface Pro 13 that's been out for a while.
Yeah.
The new Surface Pro 12-inch is actually more of a replacement for the Surface Go. If you, my friends, are already confused with the level of Surface, just check the Wikipedia and check the order of how many devices and when they've been replaced because it is incredibly complicated. The bottom line is this. The old Surface Go was like $400.
I happen to have the baby boy right here.
So this was a really impressive little device that was always hamstrung by the specs. This guy used to ship like 4 gigs of RAM, a terrible processor, like 64 gigs of storage. To get this guy to a usable configuration, you were pretty much spending $600-700. But still, it was a solid little device, very much a sort of competitor to like this sort of mid-sized iPad. However, this guy is dead, Jim.
It's
dead.
And that makes me sad because they killed it. They killed the Go line. They say that the new Surface Pro, I mean, it's good specs, but like when I am looking at products, I've said this so many times. Specs are second or third on my list of what makes a good device. With something like a tablet like this, I want the ultra portability of it.
Which this is very thin and light. Just feel how thin this tablet is. It is like a millimeter or two thinner than the regular guy.
I feel like all they had to do was take the Snapdragon core processor, put it in this, and call it a day. I know there's been a lot of talk, me especially, this doesn't have OLED. OLED should be standard now. LCDs have gotten really good. OLED is still definitely better, but the delta between the two of them is getting a lot smaller.
And battery life is generally better on LCDs. Some of the other things that this is powered, so both of the new Surfaces are Copilot Plus, of course, and they're also both Snapdragon only. This is the lower end version, so this is going to be the Snapdragon X Plus. I will be very honest with you, as someone who has been using a Snapdragon X Elite device for the last year, I can't tell the difference.
So I was using the X Elite version of it. I was gaming. I was playing World of Warcraft on it. I never once thought in my life that I'd be gaming on a tablet.
I think Bloons has been on iPad for many years.
Yeah, but no, don't get me wrong. I had a whole little apparatus to do everything. Sure. You saw that. These are really good.
Yeah.
But there's something that like we have been talking about in a bunch of videos. I'm frustrated with Windows, with Microsoft, because they are squeezing out the middle. This is supposed to be a successor to the Go line, but it's not. It replaces the Go line. I feel like there's like this illusion of choice with the Surface line.
I think price is one of the things we really need to talk about.
Yeah,
we've been very
there's a lot to talk about with price.
So the Surface Go 3 came out in 2021. It started at $400, but that was 4 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of storage. If you want to jump up to what I'd say was a reasonable configuration, it was $630 to get yourself 8 gigs of RAM and 128. This was always the problem with the Surface Go. If you bought like the very much like the sort of the basic simple model, it was kind of okay. But as soon as you start adding upgrades, it went from 400 to 700 plus the keyboard really quick. Now this is a little bit of a more, even though it's $800 to start, it's a much better configuration. You get 16 gigs of RAM standard, which is lovely. And your only options for the hardware is what color you want, and do you want 256 or 512 gigs of storage. And while I have been a vocal complainer about how much Microsoft charged for upgrades, they charge $100 to go from 256 to 512. But that used to be a $200 upgrade. At least they're making some steps in the right direction.
I argue that they're not. because the increase in what it costs for the base has gone up. I feel like that just kind of masks some of that.
But it's a reasonable configuration. Like the $800 version or the $900 version, both of those
they are reasonable configuration.
X Plus is great. 16 gigs of RAM is great. What color do you want, and do you want more storage? And you want to actually probably upgrade your storage because there's no longer a micro SD card slot, and there is no ability to upgrade your storage, which is fine, I think, considering it's smaller and thinner and cheaper and blah, blah. But next, you want to get this keyboard, which you need this keyboard because this is a new type of keyboard. So you cannot use the older school keyboard. So this was a flat one. That's very like sort of soft touch on the actual key presses. $150. Now, if you want to add the pen, it's another $130.
I do agree that keyboard is better. As someone who is a power pen user, I hate the pen goes on the outside.
Why? I'm just curious.
It's gonna come off in my bag at some point. You basically using the pen to not scratch the back of the device.
Yeah.
But the pen is gonna get scratched.
With the new Surface, specifically again, the Pro 12, I actually really like this device. Battery life is good, screen is good, speakers are pretty solid. It's a little bit expensive, but at $800, I think you're getting a reasonable configuration, although realistically, you gotta buy the keyboard. Now, when you compare that to the big boy Surface that you used to use, while yes, you don't have some of the X Elite and some of the Pro options, my argument would be, I don't think if you're using a tablet, that is gonna be hugely impactful. Over the last year, I will say, as someone who's been daily driving Snapdragon all year, it actually has gotten better. Your mileage may vary, but it's definitely improved. But I think there's a better argument for the Pro 12 than there is for the laptop. This is a really nice sort of sweet spot for a super thin, super lightweight device. I actually am going to stick with this as my new daily carry. Like, this is everything that I need. The laptop.
The laptop.
Is not it. The laptop's not it.
I'm gonna go back in time. The Surface Laptop Go 2, my favorite feeling laptop of all time. The keyboard felt amazing. 12 inches was the perfect size. I would have been incredibly happy if they just gave me that again with a Snapdragon processor.
And instead, they have completely redesigned it. So unlike the Surface regular little Go guys, now this Surface right here, the Surface Laptop 13, not to be confused with the Surface Laptop 13.8, which is a completely different device in every way. This starts at $900. So the Surface Pro has two USB-C ports, the end. This has two USB-C plus headphone jack plus USB-A, so that's certainly an improvement. But this, even though it's more expensive, I actually think is a significantly worse device. This does not have Windows Hello facial recognition. For my Surface, I turn it on, the camera scans my face, logs me in. This has Windows Hello fingerprint, which is fine, but I just objectively like Windows Hello more than the fingerprint. This also has a downgraded display. So this has a nice 90 hertz panel. That is a lower resolution 60 hertz panel. This also does not have the cool haptic trackpad from its bigger brother. One of my favorite parts of the Surface Pro 13.8 is the phenomenal haptic trackpad. I have had this conversation with every PC vendor that I have gotten face to face with over the last couple of years. Give me haptic trackpads. It makes such a big difference. I've also heard that they're actually larger on the inside. Microsoft were kind of talking about how they went back to this because they wanted to have more space for battery. I can't fully confirm that. And can I just say, I don't like the design that much. Sorry, Microsoft designers. The laptop feels too round.
It feels like a very premium Chromebook. I will say that the keyboard feels worse. I want it to be a little firmer.
Sure.
This keyboard has a nice firmness to it. I mean, we're talking about, these aren't mechanical keyboards here, guys.
They're all fine.
But it's
just subtle.
One thing they always nail is colors. Every color they have just looks gorgeous. So obviously these are ludicrously expensive compared to what they used to be.
Well, no, I disagree with that. So basically, instead of having a $400 super basic base model, they have a much more well-rounded $800 base model, which is fine, but it's more expensive.
But
this guy, though, is borderline, this is too expensive. It should be $750 or something, right? Because at $900, you're getting a 60 hertz, somewhat sort of crappy display. You're getting a pretty solid Snapdragon processor, for sure. And you could just buy the Surface Laptop 13.8.
My issue with their lineup is there is no extremes. It's now everything's just in this, there's so many things in the middle. I don't think this should exist in its current form.
What do you mean?
In its current form.
Okay, what's wrong with my little duder?
I think all of this
All this
should be this size.
Having actually started using this guy, It's a little bit bigger for sure, but the extra screen real estate actually makes that worth it to me. This is the thinnest and lightest Copilot Plus PC.
Lightness doesn't matter anymore. What I think they should have done is put the base Snapdragon in the existing Pro.
Let's talk about prices, because I think prices are the area that is the most controversial. Coming to Surface Pro Town, right? So we got 12 versus 13. This is an $800 device to start. The Surface Pro is $1,000 or $1,200. This is smaller, lighter, cheaper, and almost the exact same thing. Like, that's a good combination. Laptop starts at $900, the brand new 13. You compare it to the 13.8, again, same deal as the tablet. The old $1,000 version of the Surface laptop, yet again, has been discontinued, except that it's also on sale for $1,004.78. Again, I'm looking at the Surface site right now. For a $100 difference, the smaller Surface does have better battery life, but the bigger Surface has 120 hertz brighter display. It has USB 4 ports. It also has the more powerful processor. No one on earth should buy this when you can spend $104 more to get a laptop, which yes is a little bit bigger, but has significantly more power, has a far better display, has a better trackpad, is better in every possible way, except it's just a little bit bigger. Even if there's a $200 gap, I still think that the Surface laptop is worth that extra price. This will not sell at $900. It needs to be $800 minimum. I would like it more like $750.
I say this every time with the Surface products. This is going to sell better than any of them because institutions buy these by the pallet. There's just an aggressive partnership program of institutions, schools. It's just give me what's the cheapest because it's going to be, these are going to be like, someone's gonna smash this. But the big elephant in the room from the IT side, they have dropped the Surface connector.
Did you just double check to make sure it wasn't hiding there?
Yep. I did classroom support for a while before I started this job. Every one of our classrooms, every single one of them was using a Surface. So much classroom hardware was built around that form factor. I actually really like the Surface connector.
I did.
Because it was versatile.
I wasn't gonna carry an extra charger around.
So I'm someone who uses MagSafe. I liked, not accidentally pulling my laptop off and you pull the cable, it just pops off.
Yeah.
But with a Surface dock, that was a really good connector. The fact that it was right angle and nice and flush with the device made it not obtrusive, especially when you're installing them in classrooms.
I mean, to be fair, it still exists on the higher end, but you've got to assume that they're probably going to start just sort of deprecating across the board.
Yeah.
To sum up, at least my thoughts, I'm not sure how much you agree with me. I think that the laptop is a no-go. I just think when it's on sale, great. However, for the Surface Pro 12, even though it's got a goofy name, this thing, I could recommend this wholeheartedly. Even when you have to pay an extra $100 for the storage if you want that, which you probably do, and you're gonna have to factor in $150 for the keyboard. Even all that being said, it is an incredibly useful device, it is incredibly capable. I think it is significantly better than its bigger brothers. Now, obviously, if a sale happens and that the 13-inch version of this guy shows up and it's the same price, sure, whatever. But like, to me, not only am I gonna very happily continue daily driving this guy, I think it's one of the best value propositions that Surface team have ever brought out. Is it a screaming deal? No. Is it a very well-rounded, competent computer that can be a tablet and an actual laptop? Yes, I do think so. But there's one other elephant. Actually, yeah, you know what? There's one other elephant. Let's talk about some of the Copilot Plus features. We're now recording this in May. It has been almost exactly a year since they announced all the Copilot Plus stuff.
One of the reasons I got excited for the tablet, the Surface Pro, was because I actually thought the recall stuff sounded good, especially for our job where we're doing a lot of research. My memory, let me just be able to look up everything I've ever done.
It was gonna launch and then it was really insecure and they tore it down and they rebuilt it. As of right now, Recall is rolling out to Copilot Plus PCs. It's essentially a thing that takes advantage of the NPU on these systems to take screenshots and analyze those screenshots and keep them stored. That sounds really creepy. And honestly, if you don't turn it on, that's fair. But anytime you wanna look for something, you can just search for, hey, what did I do in my email last week, whatever, and it will find it for you. I've been using Recall for a few months now. So on my Yoga, I actually had it on like the earlier Windows 11 builds. It's useful for like, keeping track with screenshots. I'm always buying products and whatnot, and sometimes I'm having to dig out what email address was this on or whatever. It actually works pretty well, and it is going to function on these.
What do you guys think about the Surface laptops? Is it too much? Do you want a little boy? Do you want a big boy? Do you want a medium-sized boy? Like, follow, subscribe. We'll catch you in the next one.
It's pretty good.
I'm not saying it's not pretty good. I'm saying that I want a smaller device.
I'm confused as far as what you just said.